Well, where do we start this week? The top three failed to win, with Spurs and Liverpool drawing, and Chelsea failing to beat Everton. Southampton also piled the misery on Sheffield United, and Villa edge out Wolves. And Lucien has fallen out of favour at Borussia Dortmund. All that on today's podcast. Hello, you're listening to the OTC Podcast with myself, Regan, Walsh, and my co-presenter, Bradley Moore. How are you on this Sunday evening, Brad?
I mean, I'm not gonna. No, it's no point asking this quick. There's too much to talk about. We can get on with it.
Right. We've got a lot to talk about this weekend, and obviously, rightly so, there's a lot of games happen. But before we do jump into this, I'd just like to give a shout out to Arsenal and Scotland defender for the women's team, Jennifer Beattie, who on Saturday revealed that she's had breast cancer since October and has since been seeking treatment, but has continued to play for the Gunners this season. And it's an incredible feat for someone so brave to come out and talk about something that not many people are confident talking about in the world. We wish her all the best in her treatment, and hopefully she can make a full recovery and continue playing for Arsenal this season. All right, into the Premier League stuff now. And Liverpool played Fulham not too long ago, and it was a surprise result as the Cottagers managed to draw 1-1 with Jurgen Klopp's side. Fulham the lead thanks to Bobby Reed after 25 minutes, and it took until the 79th minute for Liverpool to equalise thanks to a Mohamed Salah penalty. Very shock result in this game, you got to say, Brad.
I don't know how they got anything from it.
I mean, it's
bailed out,
baffling, I think.
Bailed out from a very unfortunate error.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes when the looks on the side, you gotta just take it as grabbing the hand, really, don't you?
Not really. I mean, what is he supposed to do in that situation? He's going up as a normal. Obviously, turning your back into the wall is the worst thing you probably should do. But
yeah,
what is he supposed to do?
Yeah,
it's always Fulham were robbed of a pen themselves, so I think that's.
Yeah, it's the interpretation of the handball, because what it used to be was to stop players like deliberately punch the ball like a goalkeeper, like say was about to go in on the goal line and they stick their arm out to stop it going in. That was the original rule, but now it just seems to be if it touches you any way possible, whether you're going for a jump up or not, it's now given as a penalty, and I don't know what he has to do. Like, where are his arms meant to be positioned?
He's supposed to leap up like a salmon, just.
But you don't get the proper elevation. That's the reason why players jump with their arms nowadays, is to get proper elevation on up towards the ball. So, a crazy decision for me. Liverpool dominated the game in possession. But otherwise, it was a fairly even game. The result sees Fulham now in 17th place on 8 points, ahead of Burnley, who are, as we record this, currently playing against Arsenal, and that's why Scott Parker's side are out of the relegation zone. And with the result, Liverpool failed to overtake Tottenham to go to the top of the Premier League before this week's midweek games. So they stay in second with 27 goals scored and 18 conceded. Just say though, really underwhelming, because I mean, on paper, looking at this game, you would think Liverpool easily 4-5-0. No disrespect to Fulham, but that front three you would expect to, and Trent and Robinson being involved a lot, you'd expect them to absolutely dominate Fulham, but it just didn't seem to be the case today.
Just shocking how many mistakes they were making, just the simple stuff.
It's just a little bit worrying for a team trying to retain their title, how silly they were with their stuff. Like we said elsewhere, Tottenham, they also dropped point this weekend, drawing 1-1 with Crystal Palace. Harry Kane scored after 23 minutes for Jose Mourinho's side, but a Jeffrey Schlupp goal 9 minutes from Tayu gave Roy Hodgson's side a point. You got to say, despite how dominant Spurs were in the first half, they were poor, really, in the second, and they allowed Palace to get back into this game rather than trying to kill it off.
Palace isn't this easy fixture that it almost seems made out to be. It's tough to go to that place and grind out the win, like the Jose Mourinho special would be.
Yeah, it was. Palace did a lot better in the second half, and I think getting a goal and a point was probably deserved from that game in the end. Fair outcome for both sides. The result leaves Spurs top on goal difference over Liverpool, having scored a better goal difference of 5, and the result leaves Palace still in 11th place. Elsewhere, the other team that entered this weekend in a possible title challenge with Spurs and Liverpool was Chelsea, and they played in the evening kickoff on Saturday at Goodison Park, and it was the Toffees that won the game 1-0 thanks to a guilty Sigurdsson penalty. It was a bit of a shock of the books, considering Chelsea were, for me, the majority of the game, a better team, and I think you would have thought they could have got their chances to get back again, if not win it, but the Everton just shut the shop at the back at times.
Typical of Everton. We start writing them off and then look and they come back.
Starting to play somewhat decent again after the last fortnight or so. We've been writing them off. Result, as we said, leaves Chelsea in 3rd. Everton move up to 7th place on 20 points, level with West Ham and Manchester United. Speaking of Manchester United, a little earlier before that Everton-Chelsea game, they played city rivals Manchester City at Old Trafford in what can only be described as an absolute ball fest for anyone watching that game.
Sorry, I fell asleep during that.
I mean, it was just awful. I mean, both teams had 20 shots between them, with 4 on target between them, 2 apiece. I mean, Jesus, it was one of the duller derbies you will see in recent years.
If there was ever a game that summed up 2 teams this season, it was that one.
Yeah.
Just awful.
It really was a bad game just to watch. It was not the most entertaining. I think the most entertaining stuff was what Roy Keane was saying post-match.
Give me 90
the
minutes.
Players and the officials for...
Give me 90 minutes of Roy Keane and Michael Richards.
Yeah, that would have been a better watch than that Manchester derby, I tell you that much for sure. The result leaves both teams in 8th and 9th outside of the top 4, obviously with the game in hand over everyone above them, as their first weekend fixture was called off. Not really much else to say about that game apart from it was pretty boring. Elsewhere over this weekend, Southampton put 3 past Sheffield United on Sunday, today, depending on when this goes out. Shea Adams, Stuart Armstrong and Nathan Redmond with goals for Ralph Hasenhüttl's side. That result sees the Saints leapfrog Leicester and Chelsea into 3rd with 26 points, only 2 behind Liverpool and Spurs, which is really surprising what the Saints are doing this year.
It's so surprising. I would have had them as one of my dark horses, purely based on how last season ended for them. That team was a completely different side from over a year ago when they were battered 9-0.
Yeah. I think since that 9-0 game, they haven't won every game, and there's been some losses in there, but they've looked quite decent the majority of the time since that game. It just seems like they kind of needed that, yet playing well under Hassan Hootel, you got to say.
Third in the league, 2 off top. That's all. Something has gone right.
Yeah. I don't think any Southampton fan would have predicted that going into the pre-season. However, Sheffield United, 12 games in now, still only the 1 point, scored 5, conceded 21. We might only be 12 games in, but the Championship is calling for them. Saying, how many tickets are you planning to sell next season? Because I think relegation is definitely beckoning them under Chris Wilder, and I don't know what it is going to take to save them at this rate.
It's almost this, right? How is he going to still be in this job by the end of the year?
You don't know. I think he is in need of a Christmas mirror.
He requires the crystals.
Yeah, it's looking rather bleak for the. Just have a look at the next few things coming up. They have Manchester United on Thursday. Then 3 days later, they play Brighton and Hove Albion. And then on Boxing Day, they face Everton and round off the year with a trip to Turf Moor.
I suppose they could face the 4 teams closest to them, and you'd still think they would beat them. They're so bad right now.
For me, I think the only place they in 4 games is probably against Burnley at the end of the year. But could Chris Wilder already be? They don't play Arsenal until April.
Oh, poor bastards! They'll be relegated by them.
Yeah, they probably will be, and Chris Wilder will probably be long gone. So it's not looking good for them. Fellow relegation strugglers West Brom Albion also lost this weekend. They lost 2-1 to Newcastle United. Goals from Miguel Almiron 23 seconds into the game, and then Dwight 8 minutes from time secured the 3 points for Steve Bruce's side, and Donald Furlong scored a consolation goal for West Brom. The result sees Newcastle up into 12th. Having played 11 games after their game against Aston Villa the week was called off due to a COVID outbreak at the club, and West Brom stay in 19th place with 6 points from their opening 12 games, conceding a league high 25 goals.
There was a glorious chef's kiss moment in the fact that Dwight Gale scored the winner. And they're playing a team that had 2 midfielders in defence.
And it was a rather strange setup from Steve Bruce. I mean, Emil Kraft, Jamal Lewis, Isaac Hayden, and Kieran Clark in the team. But good result for the Toon Army. Again, questions are going to be asked about Slaven Bilic's side and how they can turn around their fortunes. I mean, next up for them on Tuesday evening is a trip to the Etihad Stadium. So things aren't going to start looking up anytime soon for the.
It's a lovely warm-up before the biggest game of the season.
Midlands Derby against Aston Villa by any chance?
Derby to them. So it's just another game.
Yes. Right. And the final game of the Premier League weekend, I believe, that we haven't talked. No, sorry, we've still got another two. Saturday afternoon, the lunchtime kickoff saw Wolverhampton Wanderers play your Aston Villa side. It was Villa that went on to win the game 1-0 thanks to an Anwar El Ghazi penalty in the 94th minute. Very cagey affair.
Cagey, were you watching the whole night?
This is yeah, I did watch the whole night. Yeah.
We had the majority of the ball.
It was very.
We had our chances. Yes, defensively we were saved massively by Emi Martinez, the absolute god.
Yeah.
We deserved the win from that.
No. Not in my book.
Both sides deserved the win in their own way. We just snatched it in the end.
I think 0-0 draw would have been a fair result in that game.
I'd have been a bit gutted as that as chances.
Mike Dean had a very popular game, handing out freaking cards left, right, and centre to every man and his dog.
No, I don't know about nothing.
11 cards were brandished in this game, including 2 red cards, one for Douglas Luiz, second buckleable offence for elbow in the Wolves player in the face, and then Jean Martinho again for a second buckleable offence as he fails Ramsey shortly after the penalty was scored.
I need to shout that kid out. What he just slotted him beautifully. Didn't look place.
Yeah. He seemed like a natural, Jacob Ramsey.
I think he's the first of the field.
He's only 19 years old, isn't he?
He's 19. He's the first of many under the age of 20 in our academy that are going to come for a day. Mark our words on our academy.
Mm.
We're the new
starting to look good again. You just got to hope Liverpool don't steal all of them in the future.
What do you mean? We're going to win Europe? Only 7 off time. Well, as far as I can see, we're in the title race.
The result, like I was going to get onto, the results is Villa in 10th on 18 points with 2 games in hand over everyone above them, apart from Man United and Man City, who they've got 1 game over in hand, and Wolves are in 13th with 17 points from their opening 12 games. Friday night football saw Leeds United welcome David Moyes' West Ham side to Elland Road, and it was the home side that took the lead after 6 minutes thanks to a Matthias Klitsch penalty, which did have to be retaken after he had came off his line. The initial penalty, if I remember correctly, because there's been a lot of football on since then, it was initially saved by Fabianski, wasn't it?
Well, I'll go for it was. I believe it was. I wasn't too sure.
And then after 25 minutes, Thomas Suchek equalised for the Hammers, and then 10 minutes from time, Angelo scored the winner for the Hammers. Bit of a turn up for the Pucks, that one. Well, not really, but at the same time, I think I was expecting.
Well, I've got the newspaper headline ready. It's there. David Moyes beats top 3 coach in the world, Marcelo Bielsa. I mean, what's the
we'll get onto that talk. Yeah, it's just 7 years too late.
Only you just gave him time. You did.
God, no. I'm kind of glad I didn't. So the result sees West Ham in 6th place with 20 points, level on points with Man United and Everton, and Leeds are down in 15th on 14 points level with Arsenal, who are currently playing as I'm recording against Burnley, which is currently 0-0, and in the other game still being played, Leicester have taken the lead against Brighton thanks to James Maddison.
So there's a lovely poetic justice in David Moyes being clear of Man United right now. And you can also
Very
say,
interesting to see how this must go.
You could also say laid the foundations for the current top of the La Liga in Real Sociedad.
Yes, which is still a shock that Sociedad are in top. Elsewhere in the world of football, in La Liga, which we was just talking about, Real Madrid won the Madrid derby 2-0 against Atletico. Obviously, Casemiro scored after 15 minutes for Zidane's side, and then an own goal from Jan Black after 63 minutes gave Los Blancos the 3 points, who have started to look decent, even though it was only like 4 games ago that everyone was expecting all the pressure and Zidane potentially to be sacked after conceding so many penalties and losing a few in a row. But now this result sees them up into 3rd place, only 3 points behind Atletico and Real Sociedad at the top.
Yeah, it was a necessary win for them to keep the title push alive, but still got a way to go.
Yeah. Elsewhere, Real Sociedad drew today with Eibar 1-1. Goal from Barranchia. I probably have absolutely butchered his name wrong. And then Sergi Enrich for Eibar. However, Sociedad think they had scored a late goal thanks to Igor Zveldia, but it was disallowed by VAR. And Barcelona are yet to start recording, and they are up against Levante, who are in 18th place. And if Barcelona really do lose that one, then Koeman and co are in trouble. Speaking of teams in trouble, Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga lost 5-1 to Stuttgart. Goals from Nicolas Gonzalez, Tanguy Koulibaly, Philip Forster, and Silas Wamangituka with a brace gave all 3 points to Stuttgart, and Giovanni Reina scored the only goal for Dortmund. And today, Sunday, Dortmund parted ways with their manager Lucien Favre after that result. I think it was all. It always seemed to be on the cards where I think if he had another big loss, and it just happened to be this weekend, that he was going to get sacked.
Yeah, well, it was never one of those writing on the wall situations. It was literally, you're not fulfilling our mission of getting close to Bayern, so sorry, we have to get rid.
Yeah,
and this is one of the best looking Dortmund teams as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's currently a 5-point gap between Dortmund and Bayern Munich, but I think it's the inconsistency at times of Dortmund. That's why the board have decided to get rid of him. And they have placed a interim manager in charge for the rest of the season, who formerly worked under Slaven Bilic. Edin Terzic has charge for the remainder of the season. Speaking of Bayern Munich, and that was in the Bundesliga, they could only draw 1-1 with Union Berlin. They what position? Sorry, Berlin took the very early lead against Bayern thanks to Krishka Promel after 4 minutes, until the 67th minute for Bayern to equalise thanks to the man himself, Robert Lewandowski. Obviously, that result sees Bayern now slip down to second by Leverkusen, won today 4-1 against Hoffenheim. See them climb to the top of the table. So it's definitely a 2-horse race, but 3-horse race if you include Leipzig. Well, it's good to see Bayer Leverkusen doing well. Well, not usually struggling, but they don't seem to compete for titles in the last few years.
There's usually one team who seems to test themselves up there.
It'd be interesting to see with Favre gone now, what happens with Dortmund come the transfer window. Will that unsettle the likes of Jadon Sancho, Erling Haaland, and other players at that club? Or Dortmund's still going to remain unselling club?
Well, you can already predict what's going to happen because we've seen it all before last year. Because what German club also sacked their manager around time this time?
Bayern München. And they got rid of Niko Kovac.
They did. And what, do you remember the score in the game, last game before he got sacked?
It was 5-1 to Stuttgart, was it?
It was Frank. It was Eintracht Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, that was it. I was going to say Stuttgart or Frankfurt. I can't remember which one, probably.
How did Bayern's season end?
They won the league, won the Champions League, won the German Cup, won about a 30-odd game unbeaten run, and yeah, I think it ended pretty well for them.
Dortmund winning the treble in 2021, right down.
Well, if that is the case, go to the books if you can, or go online and place a bet on Dortmund winning the treble.
Lewandowski style season.
Wow, that would be phenomenal if Erling Haaland can do that the rest of the season. What Lewandowski did last year. Over Italy, Juventus beat Genoa 3-1. Ronaldo scoring a brace from the penalty spot, and Paulo Dybala secured the 3 points for Andrea Pirlo's side. Atalanta beat Fiorentina 3-0 thanks to goals from Rafael Tully, Ruslan Miliovski, and Robin Gossin. And Napoli beat Sampdoria 2-1 thanks to Andrea Petagna, Ivan Lozano, whilst Inter beat Cagliari 3-1. Romelu Lukaku, Danilo Ambrosio, and Nicola Barella all scoring the goals for Inter in the last 13 minutes of the game, despite going 1-0 down just before half time, and AC Milan are yet to play this weekend. Over in America, there was the MLS Cup final between the Columbus Crew and the Flounders, and quick summary of the game, you got to say, for me, it's so solid Crew. Yes, if you know the band from the 90s. The Columbus Crew won 3-0.
You messaged me about these great nights, and that is what you've come up with.
Yes.
I mean, they better have scored in the first 21 seconds, otherwise.
They won. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the first 21 seconds, which is would have been incredible. They did score after 25 minutes. Lucas Zelarayan with the first 2. Then just after the half-hour mark, Derek Etienne scored to make it 2. And then Lucas Zelarayan, 8 minutes from time, wrapped up the trophy for the Crew, who have now won their second MLS Cup in the franchise history, which is incredible considering a few years ago there was talks that they could fold and no longer be an MLS side. It's a little bit surprising.
I'm very glad
the Sounders lose.
I'm very glad you clarified the goal scorers because, for a second I would have thought Asher D and Romeo would have been on the score sheet.
No, Romeo was done after 21 seconds. And I can tell whilst I was talking about the goal scorers, you looked up who the members. You definitely looked up the members of So Solid Crew. So it's going to be interesting to see what moves happen in the season in the MLS, and the 26th season of the MLS will be back up again in March time. Into the world of women's football, at 5 of the 6 games played today, because Birmingham City versus Everton was called off due to a waterlogged pitch at the Nation.bet Stadium. So that game will be rescheduled for a later date. Yes, that is the name of the stadium.
I was going to say, I could definitely agree with the water pitch, considering the weather in the area this week.
Yeah, but well, especially today, the weather here in Birmingham.
We only have to look out our windows.
Absolutely dreadful. Yeah, I mean, since I woke up this morning, it's just been chucking it down. I was so recently because I've got my curtains closed. Anyway, back to the roundup of the Women's Super League. Manchester United beat Reading 2-1 thanks to goals from Leah Galton and Hayley Ladd for Casey Stoney's side. Wrapped up to 3 points to keep them top of the table and unbeaten this season. The Royals score a goal just before the hour marker. Jess Fishlock's shot deflected off Man United defender Lee Turner and went past Mary Earp. So it was a very end-to-end game. Both teams had chances to win it, and the Red Devils will be happy with the 3 points there. Elsewhere in the WSL, Chelsea beat Brighton 1-0 thanks to a Sam Kerr header from Pernilla Harder cross. Again, Chelsea remain beaten in the WSL and now climb up to second place, 3 points behind Casey Stoney's Manchester United. West Ham continued their decent run under new management after Matt Beard was sacked the other week. They beat City 4-0. A Gemma Purfield own goal after 11 minutes, and then goals from Emily Van Egmond, Rachel Daly and Martha Thomas secured the 3 points for the Hammers. Tottenham Hotspur under new manager Rhian Skinner again continued to look good, this time in Aston Villa 3-1. Alex Morgan scoring a penalty second goal for Tottenham, a Caroline Seams own goal and a Ian goal just over a mark gave all 3 points to Tottenham, whilst Nadine Hansen scored for the Villa. And the final game of this WSL weekend saw Manchester City take on, and it was Manchester City who ran out 2-1 winners, despite conceding the first goal. Vivian Miedema scored after 3 minutes for the German side. Then a Sam Lewis header and a last second goal from Caroline Weird gave all 3 points to the Citizens. We've got one more match day in the WSL before we head into the before we have a 2-week break over Christmas. Right, now it's time to have a look at how we got on in predictions this week. Just having a quick look at it now. So Leeds West Ham. Yes, we both had a decent week, I will say. Leeds West, I got a point there for getting the correct score but wrong teams, as you went with a 1-1 draw. Man United, Man City, you get the point there for predicting a draw. I get nothing as Man City predicted the win for me. Leicester Brighton, we don't know as that's currently still happening. As we said last time we looked, Leicester were 1-0 up and they've actually scored a second goal since. This time through Jamie Vardy. It's going both ways.
Not until Brighton score.
Well, yeah, then it'll be going your way. Then we had Man City women versus Arsenal women. I get a point for predicting the result would be. Oh, wait, that kind of just happened, has it? I think Leicester have just scored a third again. Oh no, I don't think. Hang on. I think my phone was a little bit confusing. It might still be 2-0. Yeah, Man City Arsenal, I get a point for predicting the score as 2-1. Brad, you get nothing for predicting Arsenal win. Cardiff Swansea, Brad gets 3 perfect points there for predicting Swansea would win 2-0, and then I get 2 points for predicting a Swansea win, and then Atletico Real Madrid were both wrong. And it is 3-0 to Leicester.
Yes. I was going to call
Madison has scored. Yeah. So overall, not bad weekend. I mean, if things stay right, and if no more goals are in this Leicester game, then I'll be up to 30 points whilst Brady's on. So, right. Before we head on to our predictions for our midweek games, we do have our midweek games to look forward to, as we have a full schedule of them in the Premier League. Before we pick your 6 games out, I think it's just Premier League games, so you have to choose Premier League games to choose from. I'll just go for a quick roundup of what we have to look forward to this coming week in the Premier League. Games starting from Tuesday the 15th right the way through to Thursday the 17th. So on Tuesday we have Wolves welcoming Chelsea to the Molineux at 6 o'clock. Then at Manchester welcome West Bromwich Albion to the Etihad at 8 o'clock. Wednesday sees Leeds United play Newcastle. Arsenal play Southampton. Leicester play Everton, all at 6 o'clock. And then 3 8 o'clock games. There's Fulham play Brighton, West Ham play Crystal Palace, and Liverpool play Tottenham in what certainly looks to be the game of this match week. And then on Thursday, Aston Villa play Burnley at 6 o'clock. Sheffield United play Manchester United at 8 o'clock. And all games this week are available to watch on Amazon Prime Video. So out of them, which are you going to choose for our 6th for the Predictions League this week?
Should I want it for 5 this week, because there's very one-sided games there. It's just
fine by me. I can do 5.
Yeah, so there's 6 this week. We're going for 5 fixtures. And my first one, I'm going with Arsenal, Southampton.
So Arsenal, Southampton, you said?
Yep.
I'm going to go... I take it the Gunners are at home.
It is at the Fly, right?
I'm going to go with the Saints to win 2-1.
I have gone for 2-0 to Southampton.
Okay. Game 2.
Game 2. I'll go Leicester Everton.
Leicester Everton. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
2-1 Leicester.
Game 3.
Game 3, obviously. Battle of the top 2. Liverpool Tottenham.
I think this is going to be a Jose special, and Spurs to nick it 1-0.
I'm going 0-0.
Game 4.
Very interesting clash, West Ham and Palace.
I think this one's got a Desmond written all over it, 2-2.
I'm going to go 2-1 in this one as well. Not Crystal Palace, to West Ham. To West Ham.
Yeah, and then game number 5, the final one.
We're going Villa Burnley.
Who's at home for that one?
It is Villa.
So the Clareton Blue Derby is what we'll call it. I think it's going to be an easy Aston Villa win.
Oh, yeah. It's obviously going to be 5-0 Villa. We're going to bet. No, that's not. Don't write that shit down.
5?
No.
I was about to say.
There, I'm going 2-0.
2-0 to the Villa. Okay, that's interesting. So we will obviously be able to look at 4 of the 5 games, because we'll probably record this on Thursday this week before looking at the weekend's Premier League fixtures. Obviously, Villa Burnley we won't know about, but we'll update you when we can on that. And the final thing to look at before we sign off for the weekend is the FIFA Pro 55 most voted for in 2020 for the World 11, made up of 10 goalkeepers and then 15 outfielders per position. So we're just going to go through a quick run through of the 55. Goalkeepers are Alisson Becker, Thibaut Courtois, David De Gea, Gianluigi Donnarumma, Edison Moraes, Hugh Greece, Keylor Navas, Manuel Neuer, Jan Oblak and Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Defenders are David Alaba, Jordi Alba, Toby Alderweireld, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dani Alves, Jerome Boateng, Alphonso Davies, Virgil van Dijk, Kalidou Koulibaly, Matthias de Ligt, Marcelo, Sergio Ramos, Andrew Robertson, Thiago Silva and Rafael Varane. Midfielders are Thiago Alcantara, Dele Alli somehow, Sergio Busquets, Casemiro, Philip Coutinho, Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, Leon Goretzka, Jordan Henderson, Frankie de Jong, N'Golo Kante, Toni Kroos, Joshua Kimmich, Luka Modric and Thomas Muller. And the forwards are Sergio Aguero, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Karim Benzema, Serge Gnabry, Erling Haaland, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Harry Kane, Robert Lewandowski, Sadio Mane, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, Neymar Jr., Cristiano Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah, and Heung-min Son.
3 names there shouldn't be anywhere near it.
Aubameyang, Kaya, and Dele Alli.
Spot on.
Yep. Don't know how any of them 3 got into that list at all. It's criminal. It's criminal how them 3 got into that list.
Dele Alli is making a list of 55 of the world's best players, and Jack Grealish isn't.
And Dele Alli hasn't played a Premier League game since October.
I'll call fix.
Yeah. So the 11 finalists will be announced on December the 17th, roughly the same time that the FIFA Best Awards are announced for the best head coach, best players, and so on the list that we mentioned the other week. I think it'll probably be Bayern heavily dominated, considering the success in Europe and in the Bundesliga this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
And then probably Haaland and maybe De Bruyne are also on the list. So maybe 1 or 2 Bayern players don't make it, but I think otherwise it should be heavily dominated by Bayern. Any more for any more?
No, I can't offer any much else.
No more.
The one last thing that's come to mind. Almost another prediction, in a way. Considering this week starts the manic thing that is the Premier League Christmas schedule.
Yeah.
How long before the David Mitchell video comes out?
I give it until Tuesday at 10 to 6.
I don't even think it will be
coming Tuesday.
I know it will start Tuesday, but I don't think it'll be until Wednesday. We'll see.
You reckon Wednesday?
Yeah, more games on the Wednesday.
True.
What about the constant football?
It doesn't count if either of us tweet it out, though.
I'm not joining this.
I had to say, because then it definitely doesn't count if one of us tweet out that David Mitchell video.
So, does it count if one of us tweets it on the official Twitter?
No. It has to be. We have to see it. And you can't just set up a random Twitter account just to tweet that video either.
I mean, admittedly, that would be very committed levels just to get to the joke.
It would be. Right, that's all we've got time for this week. We'll be back on Thursday to review Tuesday and Wednesday's Premier League games and look towards the Premier League games for this coming weekend, for the next coming weekend, and anything happening in the WSL. And obviously, if any other breaking news happens, we'll it on Thursday for us, which will probably be Friday for the listeners. obviously be up more shows now because and a lot more to talk about because as we've said, we're getting into the festive period of football in the Premier League, and we are soon coming up on the January transfer window. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the few weeks. Until then, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Pardon?
We don't have families to speak to now and again, so.
Exactly. We can spend all of the time recording, talking football, watching football all the time. 24/7. It's just football. And until our preview show later
I'm just thinking of the poor Sheffield United Arsenal fans in this situation.
Oh, Jesus. Look, I don't think I could be an Arsenal fan.
So, he's already walked off.
At half time. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Yep, so wherever you're listening, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back later on in the week. And it's goodbye from myself and goodbye from Brad.
Bye.
And we'll see you soon.